Good afternoon and welcome to Through the Static. This is Stephen the Medium and I am here with the amazing
Coach Elix.
Coach Elix is in the house, and of course Mark is in the studio producing the show and giving Elix and myself a heart attack because we couldn't hear him and it was getting like really close to the show starting, but we're all good. And Elix, can you hear?
I can hear you, and
Okay.
hopefully people can hear me.
I hope so too. So just hi everybody, and I hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. Today is my annual open forum show, which I love. Can you believe this is the third one?
I cannot.
In July we'll be 3 years doing this show, so which is crazy. So it's a show that I'm not doing readings, and I say that every year, and sometimes something pops up that I can't help it, but I'm not, that's not the focus. Really the focus is today is for if you people would like to call and just share their experiences that they've had with spirit. And I think it's a great way. Elix and I were talking about this on Facebook Live. There's a lot of people over the past year, because of COVID and this energy that has never been around in our lifetimes, that has sort of elevated or made our senses sort of jump up to the next frequency in some people. And people that know that they're connected may feel like they've got even more signs, or people that never realized they were connected, sort of like above the mainstream, and everybody is intuitive. Everybody's got it, but it's just at different levels. Some people that never even realized that they had it, it just sort of gets pushed up or elevated to a different frequency too. So I think it's a great place just to call and share your experiences and know that you're not crazy and that you're connected. Does that sound good, Elix?
Sounds amazing to me. I can't wait to hear what people have to say.
So listen, I just said on Facebook Live, so I'll condense this, but I know everybody just longs for Stephen stories. They just do. I know it. So this morning
Who wouldn't want to know Stephen's story? Rolling my eyes here, people.
So I go running this morning by myself, and Elix and I usually go together on the Cape Cod Canal. A couple of days ago, we see a seal. I am like 5 years old, almost jumping in the water because I was so excited. I tried to get a picture, but he went down so fast, I got just barely his head going down. So this morning, Elix couldn't come, so I went by myself, and I said to the seals, please show your face again today for me. I'm asking them in spirit and connecting with energy because I want some more pictures and I love seeing you. So I go on my run halfway back, and the run is it like 3.5 or 3.75 miles?
It's about 3.5 to 4, depending on the day.
Right, okay. So I'm on my way back, and I look to the right, and the path is right across. If anyone has been to the canal, the path, like, it's right parallel to the Cape Cod Canal, and I see the head of a seal. And I mean, they're the most darling mammals out there. Their faces and their whiskers are so cute. So I got so excited. I stop, and he's just looking at me, and I grab my phone and I take pictures, and I did like a little couple second video, and I was so excited. And I went and continued on my run, and I took a couple of other pictures of like blue herons and whatnot. As if I'm by myself, I'm always stopping to take a picture and then keep running, and or if I'm even running with Elix, I'm stopping to talk to somebody. I'm just all over the place. So I get to my car, and the door doesn't open, and I'm thinking, well, that's weird. I mean, my key is always in my pocket, and when you approach your car, when you're right on top of it, it just automatically unlocks. And I'm like, that's weird. And I knew that I took my older remote that's not connected to keys because I couldn't find them when I left this morning, but I knew it worked. So I reached into my pocket, and lo and behold, there was nothing in it. So among the 3.5 to 3/4, 4 miles.
Rolling my eyes again, listen, for those of you who need a visual.
And I'm sure it's because, I get so excited about taking pictures of that seal. I probably, the remote was in the same pocket as my phone, and I probably just pulled it out and didn't even hear it. And besides the fact I have my headphones in, well, my earphones plugs in, listening to music. So I call Elix, and thank God he's still home. He hasn't left for his client, and he was waiting for ADT, and he was just about going into the shower, and I just told him I'm sort of stranded. And, after I told him that I don't have my key, when I got back, I heard nothing for a couple of seconds. And I know he was rolling his eyes at me. And I said, I think you're going to have to come and bring the other set of keys and come get me. And I said, I'm going to walk back on the path and see if I can find the keys or the remote. But I'm thinking, oh my God, am I going to be able to? So Elix says, where are your keys? The main keys. And I said, in my bag. Now I know my very good friends, Jeannie and Teresa, that I actually texted this morning are listening. And I know they know the Burberry bag because in court, in all the courts I've been to, I always bring my bag, which happens to be a Burberry bag. And it's just the traditional Burberry design. Like you can see that Burberry from, a city over, maybe another country. I don't know. I have got so many compliments on that bag of court offices. I had a judge, of other attorneys saying, you better hold on to that because it's going to be leaving with me. So everybody wants the Burberry bag. And I said to Elix, do you like how I just sort of sidetracked into that?
Mm-hmm. Again, rolling my eyes again.
So I tell him my keys are in the Burberry bag, and he goes upstairs and says, no, they're not.
And
so
by the way, time to tell people that if you ever want to go to Let's Make a Deal, the Burberry bag is what you want to bring with you because there's everything in that freaking bag. Everything, and then some.
You just made me snort.
I had to go through $100 of change. I had to go through, an entire box of napkins, and seriously, you name it. A bottle opener, it's there. A wine opener is there. Whatever you need is there. And I could not find the keys, so the keys were not there.
But ultimately, because I have 2 minutes before we have to take our first break, ultimately, I did walk. He did find the other set of keys, and I did walk. I had to walk pretty much 3/4 of what I just ran. So I had some good exercising today, and I asked Spirit, and again, there it was. I'm like, oh my God, please tell me that looks like the little remote on the path. And sure enough, it was. So ultimately, at the end of the morning, everything worked out fine. I have tight abs because I exercise so much. I got home okay, and we're all good. We're all very good. So, right?
That's right.
Right. So in any case, today, again, I love if you have stories, if you have questions about anything in the spirit realm, if you think you may be psychic, if you think you're a medium and you don't know, or you want to share those experiences, 508-222-1320, call me so that we can chat about it. And it's the only episode or show once a year I do this. So if you have questions, you got me, just call me. And one of the things I love is hearing people's experiences when they've connect to spirit, because I just think it's so cool. So I think we're going to just take a break, and when we come back, we will resume. So 508-222-1320, and we will be right back. And welcome back to Through the Static. I just said to Elix on break that I have two gigantic crows in the tree right outside the sliding glass doors, and that happens all the time when I do a show or do readings because Spirit just gets this energy around. And before I get to the first call, I just want to share this past weekend was phenomenal. So I finished being part of a documentary, and I did 2 different places and 2 different filmings, and it was phenomenal. I think it's estimated it's going to be about 3 months before this documentary is completed, and that's an estimate from the director / producer, but the connections that happened in the storyline of like what this documentary is about is just incredible. And I feel so honored that I was actually asked to use my mediumship connection to be part of this. And the second filming was in this home, and Elix took a little bit, and I can't share this yet, but Elix took a little bit of a video, and I showed Elix. I have never seen so many orbs, and eventually I'll show it. I have never seen so many orbs in a video in my entire life. Have you, Elix?
It was unbelievable.
There's orbs.
But no surprise, though, because the whole experience was one of a kind. So.
Orbs everywhere, like just everywhere. It was just incredible. So what I thank the director and producer, who is also just inspirational and such an amazing person. So, and hopefully very soon I'll be able to share some more information, and hopefully this documentary will get done, so you'll get to see the storyline and you get to see me in it, so which is a great thing. So let me go to the first caller. Hi, this is Steven. Who's this?
Denise.
Hi, Denise.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. So, Denise, tell me all about you. Tell me about your connection, about your. I just can feel that this has been quite a road.
Yeah. So Steven, this is Denise.
Denise, and this is Steven.
Yeah, David's friend.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah,
so now
calls on this show. I didn't know you were doing this.
I was just about to say, I didn't know. I can't tell by voices at all. And the fact that because I know you and I know who you are and I know your connection, and the fact that was one of the things, I just saw this long, like this road of just like craziness in a good way, in a crazy way. But tell me what's going on with you.
So I accidentally called the show. I felt guided to call.
I love it.
And I was like, okay, I guess I need to know something. So I call. I got out of work early, which was rare, and I thought, I had asked Spirit, what am I supposed to talk about? Like, what am I supposed to share with Stephen? And this morning, I called in Mother Mary. I don't know why. I asked for strength. Usually it's unconditional love. And the first Facebook memory that popped up was a picture I took of the sky 2 years ago that Mother Mary appeared in.
Oh my God, Denise.
Yeah, so I'm like, maybe somebody needs to hear this. Like, maybe, I'm not sure, but this is what I'm going to share.
You know what I just heard when you said that is that the one that needs to hear it is Denise.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, I think that so many times, and I love what you just said, because that's what you're about, is helping people. Because I know you, and I know what you do. I know you're like crazy connected. I get all that, but on a sort of like on a different level, I think it's nice to be able to, even like yourself as a medium, it's still nice to be able to get another perspective from another medium, right? I mean, even for me, I love that. But the what I keep like feeling also is that this connection today, Denise, was more direct. It was a more direct, personal connection between you and Mother Mary. So it was, it's almost sort of like, if this makes sense, Denise, for once, like, if you feel selfish, feel selfish. This is about you and Mother Mary and nobody else. The connection is between the two of you, and it sort of also feels like it's just, we all have, even as mediums, we all have those days. Sometimes we all have those weeks and months, and just the fact to hear that Mother Mary or see that connection, saying that you just need to sort of get that affirmation that, imagine, Denise, you ask for that, connecting to Mother Mary, and the same day Mother Mary appears. That's...
Yeah, it was the memory came up maybe like right after I had asked, called her in.
That's just a wild, beyond like belief. It really is. And it's so many times that you hear people say, which is true, that this is not on demand. You can't just say, Dad, give me a sign, and all of a sudden a penny falls from the ceiling. It doesn't work that way. However, I think when you're in the present and when your loved ones know you need to hear it is when, and if the stars align correctly and you ask, look what just happened with you.
Yes.
I think it's and I think it's also one of those things, Denise, that you should really think about, sort of take an inventory or an assessment on, where you are, what's going on, and because there's a reason why you asked for her, and she was like, you know what, I'm going to answer, Denise, in like a really amazing way, because it really is crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, okay, like here she is.
Well, and that's for you as a medium, you do this all the time. I get it, but I think that there's a very deep level with this. So, but listen, thank you, Denise.
Definitely on a personal. Thank you.
I love absolutely. You said it more concise than I did. It absolutely isn't it? It's something for you to really sit with and absorb. But I love hearing from you, and thank you, Denise.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Oh, you too, and lots of love to you.
You too.
So let me just go to the next caller, if there is a next caller. Hi, this is Stephen.
Hi, Stephen. It's David.
Hey, I was hoping you got through.
Hey, David. So glad to hear from you.
Hi. Hi.
So just for the listeners, David lost his mom recently, and a phenomenal woman. I got to meet her a couple of times. So, David, tell me what happened.
Okay, I took this as a major sign. When my mom passed away, my mom was always big with her looks, like she always had to be made up and everything. It was really important to her that her presence was, pristine. And when she passed, I drove the funeral home crazy. I brought them like 10 pictures. I brought her makeup. I was like, she has to look like this. And right after her wake, I dreamt that she was sitting down, surrounded by a bunch of people, but all I saw was her. She was lit up, illuminated, and she was gorgeous. Her makeup was perfect, and she just looked amazing. And I went over to her and I kissed her and I said, "I love you, Mom." And she just gave me a smile, and I just took that as a sign, like, this is what I look like now, David. You don't have to worry.
Wow.
Wow. To me, I don't know, maybe that wasn't a sign, but to me it was. It was her saying, you don't have to worry, I look beautiful. And she was prettier than Marilyn Monroe.
David,
amazing.
Yeah, the I can even hear it in your voice that deep down inside in your soul that was definitely your mom. And it wasn't,
Yep.
It was a sign, but it really was a visit. And it, when our loved ones come to us via dreams, and it's not a dream, it's an actual visit, usually, and I'm not saying this happens every time, but usually it's a vivid dream when you see the person you love, but they don't speak. And
right.
the fact that you just explained what happened and got to go to her, but I'll tell you, David, one exceptional thing is that you got to actually get to her, because a lot of times people will tell me that they get these vivid dreams, people that are connected, like yourself too, David, and that
Yep.
they like, the second they think about hugging the person that they love, the image disappears, or the person wakes up or something. And the fact that
Right.
that's so much your mom, and that's really what it's driven from. It's, obviously it's part of us, but because dreams happen during the middle of the night, and that's when the veil, the separation between us and spirit is the thinnest, they have more of a sort of control over that. And I know your mom must have known David needs to not only know I'm okay, know that I'm looking like amazing, and also I'm not going to go anywhere until he gets to hug me.
Oh, it was incredible, because the room, like I said, it was black. It was pitch black. There were people around. I couldn't tell who they were, but she was illuminated, and it was amazing. I woke up with the chills, and I was just like, oh my God, so thrilled that I had that dream.
And David, you can even when you just tell me the specifics, part of what I feel is that the way your mother set that up with others around, were her loved ones, were your loved ones that have crossed. But I just love the fact that your mom was like, they can be sort of like in the fog, but I'm going to be the one that's the center of attention to make sure David doesn't say, oh, his mom, his grandma, his grandpa, or his dad. Right. Not that that's not as important, but it's just because of the recent, the recent crossing of your mom and David, your connection with your mother. I mean, that alone, that connection. I mean, I know how tight you two were.
Yeah, I miss her like crazy. I really do.
Yeah, and I hope that dream just helped you so much. I mean, did you did you remember it right when you woke up in the morning?
I woke up right away after it. I woke up like, wow, that was incredible, and I wanted to call my sister at 3:00 in the morning to tell her about it.
And David, that's another thing. That's usually that is the prime time of when the veil is the thinnest, right around that 2-ish, 3-ish kind of time frame. So your mother doesn't need to use as much energy to come through and give this beautiful sign. So it's incredible, and it's really nice that not long after she crosses, that she comes to give you that sort of extra boost.
It was amazing, really.
Yeah, and you get to feel that connection, so which is beautiful, and I am so happy that you got through and got to tell me that story, because that puts a smile on my face.
Me too. Thank you.
I love it, David. And we got to take a break. So listen, David, thanks for calling. A lot of love to you, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to Through the Static. Before I go to the next caller, Elix just said to me, you may want to expand on what you just said because it's really interesting. So if anyone doesn't know this, and maybe some people do know this, that when we get visits and they're not dreams, and you know the difference when you have the experience because it's just it's vivid. Like David explained a perfect visit, not a dream. But why that happens, or even if you're having a dream, like you have like a premonition, you have a dream of something and then something happens, it's all given to you via spirit, regardless of like what the source is, it is spirit. And why they do that in the middle of the night is for whatever reason, usually between 3 and 5, 2 and 5, somewhere around there, that the veil, which we call it, the separation between us and spirit is the thinnest. And so it takes the less amount of energy for our loved ones in spirit to come to us to give us messages, as opposed to if it was like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, that the veil is much more thick in that, you need both sides. Like spirit needs to get a lot of energy ramped up, and the person receiving it also has to have a lot of energy ramped up. And another reason too at nighttime is that when we're sleeping, we just, our brains are uncluttered because we're in a sleep mode. And that's just another, like, sort of like a perfect setup to have these vivid visits or dreams with messages or premonitions. I think Elix said Betty is connected, and she's connected someone on Facebook Live that we see all the time through dreams. And that's how it works and why it works. Because imagine, it's just, if someone is trying to get to you in the middle of the day when you're working, like say your mom is crossed, imagine when you're working and you're just, your mind's thinking of what you haven't done, deadlines, versus at nighttime when you're just laying there and you're in beta or all those various different levels of sleep. It's much, much easier. So mediumship 101. So, right, Elix, are you there? I guess so. Maybe he's sleeping.
No,
in
I
beta.
am here. I just, remember we have 2 different connections, so I got to make sure that I'm muted so that you don't hear noises from here.
Oh, thank you. Let me go to the next caller. Hi, this is Steven. Who's this?
Hi,
Hello?
Steven. Yes,
Hi.
Steven.
Who's this?
It's Jean.
Hi, Jean. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good also. So tell me what's going on in Jean's life with spirit.
Oh, I don't know. I wish I knew. I'd like to hear from
Well, have you ever had...
They're all on vacation.
Well, have you ever had something that stands out, like like a connection, a sign? Well, let me just back up and just say I shouldn't ask that, because we get signs all the time, every one of us. It's the onus is on us to observe them or to see them or to catch them. And is that something that anything stands out with you?
Oh, I don't know. I think so. When you're talking about the dream and stuff, I have a lot of dreams.
And I love that. And a lot of times people don't remember dreams. And I don't remember some very smart person in spirit said to me that one way to remember your dreams is that before you wake up in the morning, or when you do wake up, don't move. Just, once you're alert, just stay like with your body in the same position for just a minute or 2 minutes and just focus on, did you dream last night? And apparently that works. And sometimes it doesn't even hit right then, but as you're, brushing your teeth, all of a sudden something jogs your memory and that dream or a part of that dream or visit pops up. So I don't know how it works, but it does, it somehow, some way it works. But the great thing about this is, Jean, is that every one of us gets these signs. It's just us finding them. And I'll tell you, I just heard someone say to you, to say to you that you have to be in the present to get these signs. In other words, from, even me going to mediums and going to psychics and amazing mediums, that you'll always hear, and maybe you have heard this, that when you don't get signs, it's because you've got these walls around you, right? You're still grieving and these walls are around you. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Exactly. And there are these thick walls, and that's why you can't see the signs. And in the small amount of time that I've been dealing and working with spirit, I am moving further and further away from that. And I'm not saying that you don't have these walls, because I'm sure that's also part of just your grieving and in the psyche and who you are, as who we are as humans. But it's really just more about not being in the present to see those signs. And what I mean by that is that either thinking about what you've got to do in the future, or what tasks got to get done, or you got to bring your car here to get it tuned up, or thinking of the past. When you're in either of those two lanes and not the present lane is really when you can get a sign that pretty much can almost slap you in the face, and you're not going to realize it's a sign. So it's one of those things that you've got to be present. And I when I teach a class, I tell people one way to be present is just to, take about 5 days, and every day for a minute, which is nothing, right? A minute, if you can get outside, or if you can't, just look out the window and just focus on something. Focus on a branch, focus on a leaf, and just look at the specifics. Look at the details of it. And as you're doing that, you're automatically in the present. You can't not be in the present by doing that. And if you do that for 5 days, maybe the first day you do it, you stay in the present for the next 15 minutes after you stop doing it. And by the 5th day, you do the same minute, but you're staying in the present for, 2 hours now. Your mind starts getting trained, and that's where you see the signs. So maybe, if I was told to share that with you, maybe it's something that you want to try.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you don't need necessarily mediums or psychics to connect. You can connect by yourself, but you have to know how to connect, and that staying in the present is a very big piece to it. So, but Jean, thank you so much for calling.
Thank you too. You have a nice day, you and Alex both.
Oh, thank you, Jean. Lots of love to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. When I was thinking about, doing this show and sort of this like open forum, and I went through some of my training books, and there's just, I was just thinking, well, maybe I could pull some things out, just like, like a mediumship 101, just to some interesting things. And I ended up being like an hour looking through the book, because there's just so much of things here of spirit and connections. And I remember when, Elix, you remember this too, when I realized I was a medium but didn't know anything. I mean, I didn't know any of the terminology. I knew nothing. And the anxiety that was going through me, when Elix, December of 2013, bought me a 16-week certification, a medium certification class. It was a home study or home-based class. It was amazing, and learning the terminology and the verbiage was just crazy. Do you remember that, Elix?
I sure do.
And once I started, I couldn't stop. And at the end, which unbeknownst to me, that this teacher, Carol Nicholson, who is just amazing and a dear friend and such an amazing mentor to me. And was living in Arizona. I think she's still in Arizona. She put at the end of this book the certification that you had to take a quiz, and then you had to call her and do like an oral sort of test. And I remember I emailed her and told her that I was just starting the second chapter. I was so excited and I love it. And I don't know, within like the next 2 weeks, I called her or emailed her back and said, I'm ready for the quiz. And she said, you went through all of that and you took all the quizzes in each chapter, 16 chapters. I was like, I'm done. And it was pretty amazing. And just made me feel so much better.
She never had somebody like that. do
Yeah,
it
no,
like
she
that.
she
Yeah.
did. She did. You know, it's just like anything else when you're passionate about something and you find something. It's just you know, you hang on to it, and it's just a great thing. It's
Well, this was a calling for you, so that's why you were able to advance it so quickly.
and you know what, Elix, and I loved it. It wasn't just like you always hear that if you love what you're doing, it's not a job. And absolutely getting through and understanding, you know, what a medium is, what a psychic is, what's the difference, all the clears, you know, clairaudience, clairvoyance, all of that kind of stuff, the chakras, the different levels of your body, like it just goes on and on and on. And it was the most interesting thing to me, and I couldn't put it down. I just could not put it down. And even working, as soon as I finished working, I would come home and just open the book and start going through the chapter, and that's how I flew through it. And I ended up taking, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 classes with her. And this one had already, which was really cool. She did this class live, and she recorded all the sessions. So you not only got the documentation, but you got the audio piece to it too. So you could, you know, follow along. And so many times the questions that I had, someone in that class on the audio would ask the same question, which was really wild. But then I ultimately ended up taking live classes with her, and that woman is like a walking encyclopedia. She is just in a nice woman, just really sweet and very nice. And
Well,
I remember.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say on that note, maybe after we come back from the break, but one of the things that I wonder, or people may be wondering, especially those people who are just want to learn how to tune in, how to connect with their loved ones, like what if you were to give someone, like what's one easy thing that they could do that would enhance their connection? It would enhance their ability to connect to spirit.
Oh my God, I'm on the spot. So we're going to come right back. 508-222-1320 is the number. And when I come back, I'm going to answer Coach Elix's question. So we will be right back. And welcome back to Through the Static. And to answer Elix's question about what I would tell somebody if they're looking to get signs and see signs, I think I would go back to what I just said about being in the present and what I told Jean about that example and exercise to do. I will tell you something. You can't get a sign if you're not in the present. So put it this way, before I go to the next caller, put it this way, if you've got like 10 people in a park and it's a beautiful day and it's lunchtime and all these 10 people are sitting on a bench and this butterfly comes in between all 10 of the people and one person is in the present. So sees that butterfly and just starts connecting and thinking like any connection that any of his loved ones, his mother, his father, whomever it is, or maybe a friend or brother, it doesn't matter, and just knows that that butterfly was sent from somebody in spirit, then goes home and say he thought it was from his mom and goes home and later on that night goes to like grab something in a desk and something maybe when he was a kid he made for his mom that he still had falls out and there's a little butterfly on it. Right there, he knows there's the connection. Oh my God, Ma, that's why you did that, to sort of reinforce that the butterfly was me. Now, the woman sitting next to him, if she's not in the present sitting in that park, she's going to see the butterfly. It's not like you're not going to see the sign. She's going to see it. She's not going to absorb it in either being in the past or the future. And the same scenario, she gets home, same thing she made for her mom, this something with the butterfly falls out of the desk, and she just picks it up and puts it back in with absolutely no connection. Just that alone is the big difference between knowing the guy who goes to bed with this huge smile in his heart and on his face, like, Ma, like you sent me a message, and acknowledging that, which then brings more messages to the woman who has absolutely no idea that was her mother and just goes to bed like a normal night. Really, who would you want to be? I mean, the majority of people are going to pick him, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. So that's the answer, Elix, that I would say. That exercise is amazing. You know, my CD that I put together on my website also has, I think, a brilliant track to be able to hone in on your skill and reinforce that psychic and mediumship connection. So you see spirits, connections, and calling cards for you. So, but let me go to the phones. Hi, this is Steven.
Hi, this is Julie. How are you?
Hey, Julie. How are you? What's going on, Miss Julie?
Not much. Just sitting outside, enjoying some sun.
Well, getting some vitamin D, huh?
Yes.
So, Julie, let me ask you something. Have you, in your lifetime, had experiences with spirit?
I believe that I've had spirit come to me.
I mean, I was going to say, do you remember, like, how?
So one of them was a dream, and this happened about a month ago. It happened in my dream, so it was amazing.
Wow. And was this a visit? Was it, like, one person?
Yes. Sitting in the back seat, I was looking in the rearview mirror.
Wow. Julie, do you know how fortunate you are? And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, that's the number one question people ask me is, tell me, Stephen, what to do to be able to have dreams like that or get signs. And when people have them, like actually without calling for them, it's just a testament to your connection to spirit, which is just amazing. And someone like yourself that clearly is connected, you know, if it's something that interests you, you definitely should follow that exercise and get yourself in the present, just seeing more signs. And what I said just a couple of minutes ago is that the more signs you get and the more acknowledgments you make, just then even more signs you get after that. I don't know how it works or why it works, but it does. It's just the way it works. It's pretty amazing.
I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, it is just amazing, and not letting the left side of your brain come rushing in and trying to sort of rationalize whatever you just saw. Like, oh, that wasn't your mother, like knocking that off the bureau. That was the wind, even though the window's not open, or the window's open barely a crack, but the left side of your brain, and all of us, wants to rationalize it as if it's not spirit. And the more you just stay on the right side, just the more connections and calling cards you get.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have things being moved around my house all the time.
I love it, and I love that you know it. I mean, I mean, honestly, do you know how many times spirit, and when I'm doing readings, I did one last night, that she said that she moves things all the time, and I said, do you know that? And the woman said to me, no. Like, well, you better look. The fact that you know that, it's just I think a reflection of how connected you are, Julie, which is pretty amazing. And I love the dream stories, because not everybody gets them, and those are pretty wild, especially even the people, spirits moving stuff around, which is cool.
Right, and I definitely believe in that, because when I woke up from the dream, I was emotionally drained.
Wow.
So I knew he came to me.
I love that, and thank you, Julie, for calling and sharing that, because I'm sure it's just also another affirmation for other people that may think, was it a visit or not? And then hear you and say, you know what, that was a visit. So, Julie, thank you so much for calling in. Lots of love to you.
You too. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And I think I have a time for one more call, right?
Hello?
Hi, who's this?
Hi, I don't know. I was on the line when you were speaking to Julie. I have no idea, so I had to mute myself for a little while. I had no idea what happened.
You're just like magical. You just out of nowhere just appeared. Like, hi.
I have no idea. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the line and I can hear Julie talking and and Stephen talking. So I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, well, that's the great thing is when you're waiting, you can hear that. I'm good, but who are you? What's your name?
So my name is Sandra.
Sandra, it's nice to hear from you. Sandra, tell me, do you feel like you're connected? Have you had any experiences?
I wouldn't say I had any experiences, but I do have a lot of dreams, and they just feel I had somebody that passed away recently, so for the past couple of months, I just dream constantly with them, and I feel like when I wake up sometimes, like I see like a black shadow, and it looks like it's, I don't know how to explain, and it just feels so real,
And it is, Sandra, it is real, and you, when you're talking to me, when I tune into your energy, you're like a classic case of somebody who's very, very connected, but has no idea how connected you are, because someone in spirit just showed me you standing, Sandra, with like reins to a horse, but the reins represent our lives, right? Like the reins represent that we're supposed to hold them, and we guide our lives, like we guide where we're going, and hoping that we're on our path and our passion. And the wild thing about you is that the reins are like sort of, which is really funny, sort of like blowing in the wind. And this is just in reference to spirit. It's not meaning that, your life is blown in the wind. It just means your connection to spirit is that you've got an abundant amount of connection that you just don't have, like the sort of like the experience to sort of hone in on it. But the amazing thing is that it's there, and everything you just told me at the beginning of this conversation, just it really just reflects that you're much more connected than what you actually even know you're connected. Does that make sense to you?
It does, yeah, it does.
And I'm sure there's pots of some things that happen that you're kind of like on the fence of, like, is this spirit or not spirit? And also sometimes with life, things happen, and then, you think for a second, and then something happens, a phone call or work, and then you completely forget about it. And it's sort of like these things are adding up, but in your brain they're not, because you've got a life and you've got things going on, so they kind of like sort of fall to the wayside. But when I see these rains, and I've seen it before with some people, not a lot of people, but I think it's pretty amazing. Just remember that you've got this intense connection with spirit, and that's a beautiful thing, Sandra. It's just, it all comes from love, but sometimes it can be a little frustrating, especially if you feel like someone's around you but you have no idea who it is.
Yeah. I mean, I just recently had like a birthday party for my daughter. This is kind of strange, but you don't think of things, and then when I like sit back and I think, I'm like, what? Like, I just recently had like a birthday party for my daughter, and we had like all these balloons, right? And they were up in the ceiling and whatever. And then out of the sudden, I looked up and they were all like, the bottom piece when you tie a balloon.
Yeah.
They were all facing down, and it was like they were all facing down. And then I had somebody that passed away, and then the last time they were with us, they wore an orange shirt, which was my brother. He wore like an orange shirt, right? So I had these balloons. I was like walking around, and I literally like the next day had all these like orange balloons like coming towards me. I'm like, what is going on? Like 2 or 3. I'm like, what's going on? My husband's like, oh my God, what is that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, but I'm like, wow, my brother the last time he was here present with us, he wore like that orange shirt like for my daughter's birthday and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know.
So Sandra, I mean, there's definitely a part of your soul that knows that it was him, and the fact that all your loved ones are just pulling those balloons all down to all have that piece facing down, which is weird, especially if there's balloons with helium in them. But again,
it was a lot of them. Yeah.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not explainable. It's explainable by just saying your connection in spirit. And I am done. I think I'm over time. So the show's ending. Sandra, thank you so much for calling, and lots of love to you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So, Elix, tell everybody where they can find you.
They can find me at Coach Elix on Instagram and Facebook, and in a couple of days with you doing our behind-the-scenes show with a new recipe.
Cooking show.
That's right.
Cooking show. So, and I am Stephen the Medium. That's how you can find me. And a big shout out and thank you to Mark, who's producing the show, who has his show right before my show for 2 hours from 3 to 5, Mark's Jukebox. So check it out. And we will see you next Wednesday when I resume just doing readings. Okay. So lots of love to everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Mark.